The smell of pine and roasted turkey filled my parents' house. It was Christmas Eve, and I felt that warm, happy glow inside. My boyfriend, Jake, was by the fireplace, laughing at one of my dad's stories. I watched them, my heart full. My sister, Brittany, sat across the room on the couch. She was scrolling through her phone, but I could feel her watching us. Later, as we finished eating dessert, Jake squeezed my hand under the table. He leaned close, his breath warm near my ear. "Check your purse before we leave tonight," he whispered. "I left a little something for you." He gave me a secret smile and a wink. I felt a flutter of excitement. From the corner of my eye, I saw Brittany look up from her phone. She had seen the whole exchange. Her eyes narrowed for just a second before she looked away. After dinner, I helped my mom clear the plates. Brittany surprised me by offering to help dry them. This was unusual. As I was loading the dishwasher, Brittany said, "Oh, Paige, can you grab the extra napkins from the basement? Mom wants to put them out." I said sure and headed downstairs. When I came back up, the kitchen was empty. Brittany was wiping the already clean counter. My purse was still on the chair where I'd left it. I didn't think anything was wrong. We all finished cleaning and started putting on our coats to leave. The house was loud with goodbye hugs. That's when I remembered Jake's note. I reached into my purse, my fingers searching for the folded paper. I found it and pulled it out. My smile faded instantly. This wasn't nice stationery. It was plain white paper. I unfolded it with a sinking feeling. It was Jake's handwriting, I was sure of it. But the words were like knives. It said he was sorry, but he had been feeling distant. It said he thought we wanted different things. It said he would come by my apartment after the holidays to get his things. The worst part was the last line. "Please don't make a scene tonight. Let's just get through this." I stared at the paper, my hands starting to shake. The happy noises of my family around me sounded like they were coming from far away. I felt like I was moving through a thick fog. I carefully folded the horrible letter and shoved it deep into my coat pocket. I put on my biggest fake smile. Jake was at the front door, joking with my dad. He looked so happy. I thought it was an act. My heart was breaking into a million pieces. I gave my mom a quick hug. "Love you, sweetie," she said. I couldn't even speak. I just nodded and walked out the door into the cold night. Jake followed me. "Everything okay?" he asked, his voice concerned. I couldn't look at him. "Just a headache," I mumbled, climbing into the passenger seat. I stared out the window at the Christmas lights blurring past. The drive to the TV station was quiet. Jake tried to talk a few times. "Big night tonight," he said, his knee bouncing nervously. I just nodded, my throat too tight to answer. I thought his big night was about the Christmas Eve special he was producing. I had no idea it was about us. I decided right then that I would be strong. I would go to the station and act normal. I would support him through his work like I always did. After his shift was over, I would ask him about the letter. I owed him a calm conversation, even if my world was ending. The tall antenna of Channel 6 came into view, lit up red and green for the holiday. The station was buzzing with controlled chaos. People with headsets hurried down the brightly lit hallways. Jake was pulled away immediately by a woman with a clipboard. He kissed my forehead quickly. "Wait for me in the green room, okay? It's all going to be perfect at midnight." He rushed off before I could reply. The green room was a small, comfortable space with a couch and a TV. I sat down alone. I pulled the forged letter from my pocket and read it again. The words, "Don't make a scene," burned in my mind. He didn't want me to embarrass him at work. The perfect midnight he was talking about was just a successful TV show. My perfect future was gone. I don't know how long I sat there, holding the paper. There was a knock on the door. It was Diane, one of the show's producers. "Paige, there you are. Thank goodness. We have a tiny emergency. Jake's segment needs a new graphic rendered, like right now. I know you're not on the clock, but you're the design genius. Can you please help?" I blinked, forcing myself back to the present. Work. I could do work. Sure, Diane, I said, my voice sounding strange to my own ears. She led me to a computer station. Focusing on colors and fonts was a temporary relief from the pain in my chest. After I finished the graphic, I took the file to the main control room to drop it off. The room was dark except for the glow of dozens of video screens. I handed the drive to a technician. My eyes wandered over the wall of monitors. One screen showed the main set. It was decorated like a cozy Christmas living room. There were 2 armchairs and a small table. On the table were 2 champagne flutes. And right next to them was a small, black velvet box. My breath caught in my throat. It looked exactly like a ring box. But that couldn't be for me. Not after the letter. Maybe it was a prop for a different segment. I was about to leave when I put on a spare headset hanging nearby. I could hear the audio feed. On the monitor, I saw the show's host, Phil, walk onto the set. He clapped Jake on the shoulder. Jake looked incredibly nervous. Phil's voice came through my headset, warm and friendly. Nervous, kid? Don't be. She's going to say yes. The whole city will be cheering for you. Jake ran a hand through his hair and gave a shaky grin. My blood turned to ice in my veins. She's going to say yes, the words echoed in my head. He wasn't talking about a TV segment. Suddenly, all the pieces smashed together in my mind with terrible clarity. Jake's secret note. His crazy nervous energy. The ring box on the set. The live midnight segment. Phil's words. Jake wasn't breaking up with me. He was planning to propose. On live television. Tonight. And the letter in my pocket, it wasn't from Jake at all. Someone had switched the notes. There was only one person who had been alone with my purse after Jake put the real note inside. My sister, Brittany. She had seen him do it. She must have read the real note and replaced it with her own cruel fake. A hot, pure rage washed over me, burning away the sadness. This wasn't just petty jealousy. This was sabotage. She wanted to destroy this huge, beautiful moment. She wanted me to run away heartbroken, to miss the proposal, to ruin everything based on her lie. I looked at the clock on the control room wall. It was 11:47. 13 minutes until midnight. Until the proposal. My legs felt weak. I had a choice. I could run out of the station right now and let her win. Or I could stay. I thought of Jake's face, so full of love and hope. I thought of Brittany's smug expression at the house. I made my decision. I walked out of the control room, my steps becoming more sure with each one. I went straight to the makeup room. The artist, Liza, was packing up. Liza, I need your help, I said, my voice surprisingly steady. I need to look okay for camera. My boyfriend is proposing on air in about 10 minutes. Her eyes went huge. She didn't ask questions. She just smiled a huge smile and said, "Sit down. We'll make you shine." At 11:55, Jake found me outside the makeup room. He looked panicked. "Paige, did you read my note? The one I put in your purse?" He searched my face, his eyes wide with worry. I took a deep breath. I couldn't tell him the whole truth, not now. "No," I said, which was technically true. I had read a note, but not his. I couldn't find it. A massive wave of relief washed over his face. He pulled me into a tight hug. "It's okay," he whispered into my hair. "Just trust me. I love you so much." For the first time that night, my smile was real. "I love you too," I whispered back. A production assistant rushed us toward the set. The bright lights were almost blinding. The set was even more beautiful up close. Phil greeted us with a warm handshake. "You two ready for a memorable Christmas Eve?" he asked, his eyes twinkling. I nodded, holding Jake's hand tightly. I thought of my family at home, watching on their couch. I pictured Brittany sitting there, waiting for me to fall apart on live TV. She had no idea I was standing here, about to face the moment she tried to steal. Phil chatted with us softly, asking about our Christmas plans. It was just filler talk before the countdown. I could feel Jake's palm sweating in mine. My own heart was beating so hard, I was sure the microphone pinned to my dress would pick it up. On the big monitor behind us, the digital clock began the final countdown. 10, 9, 8. I saw the big camera in front of us light up with a red on-air light. 7, 6, 5. I took a deep breath and squeezed Jake's hand. 4, 3, 2, 1. Merry Christmas, everyone. Phil's voice boomed through the studio. Soft confetti began to fall from the ceiling. Jake turned to face me. He let go of my hand and dropped down to one knee. The camera zoomed in close. He pulled the velvet box from his pocket and opened it. A beautiful diamond ring glittered under the lights. Paige, he said, his voice clear and strong. You are my best friend. My favorite person in the world. You make every single day brighter. Will you make me the happiest man alive and marry me? The studio audience, sitting in the darkness, erupted into cheers and applause. I looked down at Jake. His eyes were full of love and hope and a little bit of fear. I glanced for just a second toward the camera lens. I imagined my sister on the other side of it. Then I looked back at Jake. My voice was strong and sure when I spoke. Yes, I said. 1,000 times yes. The cheers got even louder. Jake's face broke into the biggest smile I'd ever seen. He slipped the ring onto my finger. It fit perfectly. He stood up and kissed me, and the studio filled with the sound of clapping and holiday music. After the segment ended, we were swarmed. Crew members, other producers, Diane, everyone was hugging us and congratulating us. It was a whirlwind of happiness. My face hurt from smiling. I finally got back to the green room to get my phone. The screen was flooded with notifications. Dozens of texts from friends, coworkers, my aunts and uncles. OMG, congrats. That was so beautiful. I'm crying. I scrolled through them, my heart soaring. But there was nothing. No text, no call from Brittany. Her silence was louder than any message. Jake and I drove home through the quiet, empty streets. It was after 1 in the morning. My phone rang. It was my mom. She was crying, but I could tell they were happy tears. Honey, that was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. We are so happy for you. Then her voice changed, dropping to a whisper. But Brittany left the room right after you said yes. She went straight to her bedroom and locked the door. She won't come out or tell us what's wrong. I felt a cold, hard sense of justice. I think I know what's wrong, Mom, I said quietly. We went to my parents' house for Christmas morning brunch. The air was tense. Brittany came downstairs late. Her eyes were red and puffy. She wouldn't look at me or Jake. She just picked at her food. When Jake went to the living room to help my dad with the fire, I saw my chance. I followed Brittany into the kitchen. Why did you do it? I asked, my voice low and calm. She froze, her back to me. Do what? She said, trying to sound innocent. I pulled the forged breakup letter from my wallet and laid it flat on the kitchen island between us. She turned around and saw it. All the color drained from her face. For a long moment, she just stared at the letter. Then her face crumpled. You have everything, she finally burst out, her voice a harsh whisper. The perfect career, the perfect boyfriend, now a perfect proposal. My life is a mess. I just wanted you to know what that felt like, for just 1 second. She was crying, but they were angry, self-pitying tears. There was no real apology. She still thought she was the victim. I picked up the letter. You wanted me to feel pain, I said. And you almost did. You almost ruined the best night of my life. I didn't want to hide this anymore. I walked back into the living room, holding the letter. My parents and Jake were talking, but they stopped when they saw my face. We need to talk about this, I said. I held up the paper. Last night, Brittany put this in my purse. She forged it to look like Jake was breaking up with me. She switched it with the real note Jake wrote. I explained everything, seeing the switch, my heart break, realizing the truth at the station. My dad's face went pale with shock. My mom put her hand over her mouth, her eyes filling with tears. Jake looked from the letter to Brittany, who was now standing in the doorway, with a look of pure disgust. The fallout in my family was immediate and severe. My parents were beyond angry. They felt betrayed by Brittany's cruelty. They told her that she could not stay in their house if she was going to try and destroy my happiness. She needed to move out and find her own way without dragging me down. Brittany packed a bag and went to stay with a friend that afternoon. But that wasn't the end of it. Brittany worked as a receptionist at a respected law firm, Sterling and Pierce. It was her first stable job in years. 2 days after Christmas, Brittany was called into a meeting with one of the senior partners. He had seen the proposal on the local news, like many people in town. He had also heard, through the tight-knit town gossip, the real story behind it. The partner was very direct. He told Brittany that forging a document, even a personal letter, showed a serious lack of integrity. He said such poor judgment and malicious behavior was a major red flag for someone working in a law office, where trust and ethics were everything. They couldn't have someone like that representing their firm, even as a receptionist. They let her go on the spot. On New Year's Eve, Jake and I stayed in. We cooked a nice dinner and watched the snow fall outside our apartment window. My family was trying to mend, but I needed space from Brittany. The video of the proposal had been shared all over our local community pages. The caption often read, "The Christmas Eve Miracle Proposal." People talked about how romantic it was. They had no idea about the drama that happened off camera. I looked at my ring, its diamond catching the candlelight. My sister tried to break my heart and my relationship. Instead, she broke her ties to our family and her own career. My happiness was real. It was built on love and trust, things her jealousy could never touch. That knowledge was the most peaceful and powerful gift I received that Christmas.